First thing you have to know how to get the ID of VGS. Who get the answer, let me know.
So within the accuracy of my graphing skills, I get ID equals 2.7 milliamps and VGS equal minus 3.7. And that's the point where the source resistor load line intersects the quadratic curve.
That's correct. But the thing is, I want to know, all the students, do they know how to do or what to do?
Mr. Pham, could I ask something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like if I put my my line at 0 and I draw it up across the curve and I intersect where it's 1, 2, 3, 4 milliamps, and then at the bottom VGS is 3. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's close.
I'm sorry?
That's very close.
Yeah, I did the one where it's 1, 2, 3, 4 milliamps up and then 3 volts over. And it crosses the line exactly, almost like on the line.
Okay. So
Hey, Joseph, I think you have to do the calculation is it's the ratio at the point where you're establishing the curve, the line, it's actually the ratio of voltage to current for the resistor, the source resistor. So if you say pick
yeah, I went from, let me just, no, I'll let you correct me. Hold on. I'll let you correct me. I went on the IDSS line, I went 1, 2, 3, 4 units up and then 3 units over, and it crosses the line right there. So, but I don't know. Go ahead. Correct me. Go ahead.
Why did you choose those numbers?
Because that was a nice, smooth point where it intersect almost like in the middle.
But you have to actually use the source resistor for the load line. So pick a current like 3 milliamps. Okay,
Yeah,
on the vertical scale, and then divide that by 1.5 kilo ohms. And that gives you a point that's 2 volts or minus 2 volts, right, for VGS. So then you draw a line from 0, 0 through the point 3 milliamps. I'm sorry, we're saying 4 milliamps. Sorry, 3 milliamps and 1.5 volts. That's the line that you draw, and that's the line that intersects the transfer curve.
Okay. You know what, Richard, I appreciate the help. I'm going to let Mr. Pham draw it because he's got the ability to draw it maybe so I can see it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But thanks a lot for your explanation. Thanks for your explanation.
okay, anyway, I go through it. You get a VGS
Correct.
equal minus ID time. If you're reading right here. You see that VGS equal VG minus VS. VG 0 minus VS means ID times IS. They're supposed to be IS or ID the same. So that's why I get this equation. Okay. Now, if you want to draw the line, you need 2 points. First thing I can get point A. I set ID equal 0. So what VGS equal? VGS equal 0. VGS equal minus ID times RS. So you get a point A right here. And now you need a second point. I say point B. Okay? And ID, you can select any number higher than 0. Less or equal 10 milliamp IDSS. Any number you want it. Okay? So if ID, I say I pick 5 milliamp. Okay?
4 is better.
Or let's say, if I set it 4 milliamp, any value,
Okay, pick 4 milliamps.
it's hard to draw. So that's why I picked that one.
Halfway. Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Then VGS equal minus 4 times IS 1.5K. You get minus 6, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you get 4 milliamp. 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Okay, then you can get a line. From the 4 milliamp. Okay,
Right.
VGS equal minus 6, minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you get a line. This is a point B right here. And then you draw the line from A to B. This is a Q point right here. Okay, you want value for ID. You get right here. Okay, on my, I get around 2.5. If you want VGS, you're going down. And that one you can get minus 4. That's how can we get the value for the ID Q or VGS Q.
Okay, so
Normally you want to get a good answer, you have to bring that out and draw the line. That will be more easier.
Mr. Pham,
Yes, sir.
Miss Sandy Hamill from Job Development and Placement Specialist is here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay.
Is this to be here?
Yeah, she's here. Sandy, can go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Okay, Sandy.
Hi.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Hey, Professor. Thanks for having me today.
All right.
okay, so hold on.
Okay.
I will be stop the lecture at this time, okay? We get some people from the, the job market. We talk to the student. So I stop my share.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, Sandy. Today we're going to have Sandy Hamill. She's from Job Development and Placement Specialist from San Diego Continuing Education, and she's going to give us some information of how to help student to go through the process of helping the student to. Can you mute your mic, Richard? Thank you. Okay, we're going to have Sandy going to introduce herself. She's going to be helping with the student to go through the process of give us some more information about what the San Diego Continuing Education are able to provide for student here and for everyone. So listen closely. Now let's give a warm welcome to Sandy Hamill. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Hey, everyone. Good
Hello.
evening. So I am Sandy. I work with career and college transitions. I'm going to throw my information into the chat ahead of time, just so you guys have it. But I'm a free resource to you guys since you guys are students of the school, and I am going to remain a good contact for you to have up to a year after you complete your program. But so what I do in career and college transitions is if you are looking to work in the field that you're going to school for, electronics, you can connect with me. I can help you with your resume. I can help connect you to different employers. In semesters past, I've brought employers into the classroom. Your guys's instructors were gracious enough to give us some floor time where I can introduce you guys to people who are in the industry, and you can hear directly from them, you know, what you're learning is correlating to what you're going to be working in the field with anyway. But you guys have great instructors. So, I mean, the whole purpose of me dropping by is just so you know that even though you're remote, you're still a student of SD, CCD, and you have these resources that you might not know exist. So I'm one of them. I think I noticed a couple of students are still in from last semester, right? I think
Yes.
I saw some names that I was familiar with, but if you guys need any help, I'm here for you. I threw my information in. It has my name, my email, and my phone number. That phone number you guys can text or you can call. Since I'm working remote, I'm available pretty much around the clock. I can schedule, you know, away from your work or around your class time. And I'll help you out with your resume. I'll help you connect you to employers. Sometimes I get contacted by employers and I'll send out job announcements to your instructors. But, you know, if you're in direct contact with me, I can send those directly to you as, you know, employers come up to me and say, hey, do you have someone that's wanting to work in electronics? I can pass that information on to you and see if you're a good fit. So I'm a good contact to have. And if you have any questions for me, I definitely don't mind taking those now.
So you're a not a career counselor, but you help people locate jobs by a reference list?
Not necessarily. Good question, though. I think I remember you from the last time too. So I am a part of Student Services. I work for the Department of Career and College Transition. So if you're looking for a career inside of electronics, typically I'll have a database of employers that we've connected with in the past, or I can help you connect with new employers. And that's really what it is. It's developing those connections for you and with your help. Sometimes I'll have students come up to me and say, hey, I saw that this electronics company was hiring. Can you help me look over my resume before I submit it? Or, hey, I'm going to have an interview at this place. What do you know about them? And I can kind of be an extension to finding out more information, helping you make sure that your resume is tailored to fit what they're looking for. And just showing that, you know, if you were working in a different field, that you have transferable skills that you could bring into that interview and really help you highlight that.
So you help construct the resume, help the employee or prospective employee develop their social skill possibly with the new company, but you aren't a job location service, or you're both at the same time?
That's a job location service. Do you mean like, will I place you in a job? No, I won't place you in a job.
Right. So when you're referencing work or employers, you're not like a Cal Jobs or a
No,
contract.
I am not.
Right.
Yeah, no. So a lot of times employers will reach out to the school. And so employers might say, hey, I'm looking to hire 5 electronics technicians. Sandy, what's up? Do you have any students that have gone to school and that are ready to work in the field? And a lot of times I'll reach out to students that I've worked with in the past and say, hey, this company is hiring. Here's the criteria they're looking at. Do you have an updated resume that I can share with them, or would you like me to put you in contact with them? So sometimes it's employers reaching out to me and saying, hey, I'm trying to fill these employment opportunities. And sometimes it's a student saying, hey, I'm looking for work. I just finished, or I'm getting close to finishing electronics. Can you help me start to find work? And I'll do that with you.
One last question. So you keep resumes on file as employers contact you for potential employees? Do you keep those resumes?
I never send anything unless a student gives me their permissions. I don't save resumes. I have templates that I work with, and as I help students complete a resume, I give that to you and you hold it. I don't save resumes.
But you are a point of contact to help locate employers who need employees. You basically.
I'm a liaison. I guess that would be the best way that I would describe it,
Right.
because at the same time I'm putting on events, right? So with me bringing in an employer into the classroom, that would be just me forming that connection.
If
I don't.
Go ahead.
No, go for it.
So if I send you, so me and you sit down, we talk, we get my resume together, and you help clarify my skills in general. We get it all listed on the resume, and you get me pepped up, what I should say to this potential employer. So about the only thing that you're really keeping is possibly an email and maybe some background information as to what I could provide to an employer. And then you just keep something very simple in your database, and then you contact me or you contact an employer with just like an email that this is a potential employee type of thing. Just a very simple contact, no resume forwarding, but you still contact me and the employer, correct?
Kind of. I'm a little bit confused with your question. But so if you utilize our services at the school, I do maintain basic contact information, directory information of the students I work with. That way, if we have any reporting to do with student services with, hey, how many students did you help this semester? They have the ability to look at a roster of people that I've helped. And I represent not just electronics, but I have all of the skilled trades plus auto. So it would show them a breakdown of that. But any information aside from that, I don't necessarily maintain. If you form a relationship with me and I have your email, yes, I include you on job opportunities, kind of like a DL that I have. So it would be just a list of people that I send these job opportunities from this pathway to. But that's about it. Does that help answer you?
So if I'm looking for work, you provide maybe just a general list and also at the same time assistance with a resume.
Yes, I could do that for you.
All right.
My job's a lot more fully loaded than that, but yeah, to answer your question, Lowell, I could do those things if you do need them.
Yeah, I was just trying to break it down. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
I have a question.
Hey, what's up, Marcelo?
Hi, Marcelo here. Let me ask you, are these job opportunities most of the time associated with a technician position, or sometimes something different come to you? Basically, I'm looking for a job in the medical device area, something like that.
You know what?
Okay, go ahead.
Definitely, sorry to cut you off, but yeah, reach out to me offline. Email me. There are different medical companies that have reached out in the past, so I can definitely share a contact with you and see if they're looking for anybody. That seems to be a pretty hot field right now. Aside from that, I think recently I sent over to your guys' instructors something with like fire alarms, that someone was looking for someone that knew electronics and can learn to work with fire alarms and some sort of detection service. I don't have all the details at the top of my head right now, but I mean, employers can see something that we teach a certain industry and they'll reach out just telling us, hey, this is something, it's close to your field, or it looks like, this is stuff that you guys teach. a lot of times even old alum will come and contact us and say, hey, I graduated from this program of electronics, and I see this position opened up. It looks like what I learned fits this. And then they'll ask us, hey, do you have anybody? So there's multiple ways and multiple parts of the industry that can contact us and say, hey, we're looking for somebody.
Okay, but if I understand well, should I keep asking you if you have here for some call about some position in the medical device field, something like that? Or sometimes you're going to be delivering that information for us?
No, I definitely want to empower you to reach out to me. So reach out to me tonight after class. Just say, hey, it's Marcelo. I met you today in electronics. Here's my student ID number. If you have a resume, send it over to me. And that way I can help modify it. And then I can put you in contact with people that I've worked with in the past.
Okay.
Regardless of if you have like something open, I'll still send them an email.
Wonderful.
So once you're okay with me, sharing your resume, I might say, hey, employer, this is Marcelo. He's in electronics. He's going to be finishing up. We'll talk about when you're finishing up. And if you're needing anybody with a skill set, please reach out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I have a question.
Patrick, hey, what's up?
Hello, Sandy. Thank you for coming and asking or answering questions for us. So in a prior field I was in, they really wanted a lot of experience, like years of experience and such. So I guess my question is, do you have any suggestions for what we can do to build that experience level before we get the job, or how does that bridge work? Besides,
Cool,
I know that
good
we have to
question.
take a test. I know we have to take a
Mhm.
competency test to see if we can do the math. I'm just wondering if there's any other things that we could potentially do to help make us more employable.
I would say one of the best things for you to get ready is prepare a functional resume. So I know that typically you'll see like a chronological resume where you're spending a lot of time listing all of your work history.
Mhm.
Knowing your work history and like identifying those transferable skills is going to be one key component, but making a functional resume that's going to focus on a skill set that, encompasses all of the, main points that you're learning in class. A lot of like the key components to electronics. If you have that occupying a good amount of real estate on your resume, that's going to help you stand out as well.
Okay.
So that I think within the school, one thing they're wanting to start like kind of guiding all of the classes into is going to be some work-based learning. So the other part is if you have an opportunity to sit and hear from an employer of that industry or anything, head into that, ask questions, stand out in those ways. It's sometimes not just, the skills you have, but who you know.
Okay.
And there's been multiple times where I come in with an employer. The employer's asked really good questions by a couple of students. And at the end of that, when I follow up with the employer, they say, hey, Patrick really stood out. He has some good questions. Do you have his resume? Because a lot of times it's going to be the soft skills that really put you over the edge. Having the knowledge and everything is one thing, but, being personable, being a team player, being able to work on a team, all of that is going to go above and beyond for you. So just keeping all of that in mind is really the other thing I would say.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Patrick. Anybody else have anything for me?
Hi, Sandy. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One question, Sandy. This may be a little bit off topic, but since you're involved in the current employment scene, I'm thinking a lot of students here might be interested in understanding what the entry-level pay scales are for these kinds of jobs. You have any insight into that? It
really varies. That's one of the questions I ask when someone reaches out to me is, on both sides. I ask the employer, these positions that are open, how much are you paying? And then I'll collect that information. And when I work with a student, I'll ask the same thing. What are you expecting? You know, if you're saying you need to make at least, you know, X amount of money, I might keep it real with you and say, hey, you know, I'm looking at the starting pay for some of this, and it's right around what you're saying, or it's right below what you're saying, and how do you feel about that? So everything just varies. But if you do work with me, then it's really just kind of that one-on-one of, hey, what's your experience level like? Even if you're coming in brand new, if you have managerial skills, or you've worked in a similar industry, or in some sort of industry that's closely related, that kind of can change those factors for you. So I can't give you a number like, hey, you're gonna make say $24 an hour, $40 an hour. I can't give you a number.
Thank you.
Cool, thanks for your question.
I have one last question, Sandy.
What's up, Lowell? I'm all ears.
All right, just one last question. Kind of referencing, going along with what Richard was saying, that's reasonably important just because that's what a lot of people work towards.
Mm-hmm.
You referenced a list. That list is more your personal control versus website access, so that somebody could log in and look and see what you have.
To see, no, yeah, that's more of just an internal database that we share of employers we're in contact with.
So we have no
And
search capabilities at all with
right now, no. I think that as a region across San Diego, one of the career, I can't think of what the name is, but there's a group of us that we share resources, and I think they're thinking of coming up with something, but it's also going to be just internal. The reason being, I'll give you a good example, is someone like NASCO reaches out to us and they say, hey, we're hiring for 12 positions. This just happened last week. And they're asking me, hey, do you have anybody? We're going to have, you know, when NASCO opens up positions, they get 200 to 500 applicants per employment opportunity that exists. And what they do is, once they come through us and they say, hey, do you have anybody? Those people move up that ladder. So you're in the highest level of that stack. They don't want to hear directly from someone. Sometimes they want to hear from that middleman of a representative where they've formed a relationship with different schools. So hearing from Lowell might be cool, but hearing from Sandy regarding Lowell is going to be better.
Right.
Short.
Thank you.
Okay, Victor,
no problem.
Okay, Victor, do you have a question? Victor, are you still there? Well, I guess that's the last one.
Yeah. Cool.
No,
Well,
no,
I
go
don't
ahead,
have any
Victor.
question now. Thank
Okay.
you. No, I was just saying, Sandy, thank you for coming. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And guys, just keep in mind, that's my contact information. I'm here for you guys as you guys are students. And again, up until a year after you leave a program. So if you need any help, or even if you have simple questions, you know, I'm here. If I don't have the answer, I'll go find it for you. Cool. All right, guys, have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your session.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank-
instructors.
thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Sandy.
Good.
All right, Professor Spam. Bye, Sam. I'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye. Okay. So make sure you get her contact information. So because she's going to be a very good resource that you can make a connection with, and to ask some help preparing your resume, and also to help you prepare for a job interview. Okay. So make sure you take a contact information.
Okay. So we go back.
Yes. Now we're back to the problem.
And Mr. Pham, when you get to it, yeah. So basically, once we find the IDQ in the VGSQ, those are the numbers that we use to find the other variables such as VD, VS, and VDS. Is that correct?
Yes, so
Okay.
that's what let's see, we have to figure it out in here. Okay, so we already, okay, that's not this one. Okay, let's see. What else they want? They want VD.
Okay, so basically what you, in this, if I could, I'm just trying to make sure I understand this. So you could say, for instance, ID in this one here would be like 2.65 or 2.7 milliamps, and you would use that to find the rest of the variables.
Perfect. That's correct.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Now, the next one, you have to calculate the VD. Okay. The harder part is calculate the ID and VGS. And we already get through the graphic. And then VD will be equal VDD minus ID time RD. Okay. Then you need to calculate the VS. You know that will be ID time RS.
Hey, Mr. Pham, I don't want to beat a dead horse to death, but the ID, that's IDQ, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. What else we need to do calculation? VDF. And they will be VD minus VF. That means everything you must be doing your calculation. Okay? Any question on this problem? If they given you graphic, you know how to get the current ID Q and the VGS Q. The rest will be just normal, easy. Okay? Now, any more questions on this problem? If it's not, we go to the next. Okay, this is also a cell buyer, but we don't want any graphic, okay? That normally you will be doing. In order to do without the graphic, then either sometime they given to you VD, okay? Sometimes they given you VD. If they given to you VD, how can you calculate the current ID? In this case, ID equal what?
VDD minus
VDD, right?
right.
Minus VD divide RD. The purpose is try to get the ID or VGS either way. Then you need to know VGS. You know VG minus VS. And VG equals 0 minus VS. And VS will be equal ID times IS. Okay? That's more easier using the graphic.
Hey, Mr.
However,
Pham, and the
The
reason,
VS is given.
no, I'm talking about if they given you VD. They're not giving you VD and VS, only one. I just talking about in case they given you VD, then you can
Yes.
calculate ID by the formula I just give it to you. The thing is on your quiz on Wednesday, you have to deal with that kind of thing. But you don't know I given you VD or I given you ID or I given to you VS. Either way, we have to know how to do calculation. So now on this problem here, I want you to do it. I given to you VS right here. Now go ahead and do the rest for me. A, B, C, D, E. Quickly.
Hey, Mr. Pham, just a real quick question.
Yeah.
On this circuit right here, self-bias, you said that because the RG is so high, that's the reason why VG is 0, correct?
No, the thing is they connect to ground.
But also it's a high resistance, so you would have low current flow there anyway.
Nothing to do with that RG in this case. They just prevent when they try to build an amplifier. Okay? When they apply the sideways input here, if you don't have a RG, they short it to route so you don't have a signal go into the gate. So that's why they need RG. Okay? Isolate between the gate with the route when you're doing for the amplifier.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead and quickly calculate, give me the answer. I want to verify, make sure we get the right answer. Okay, VGS or ID. ID will be easy to calculate by calculator IS.
idea, I think, is 2.2 milliampere.
Okay. ID you say 2.2 milliamp.
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
2.2 milliamp. The thing is you understand is we're working together. You can easy to understand that easy for you, but the rest of the student, they need to know how to follow, how to do the calculation. Okay, so we want to get them, make sure we get the right answer so they can work them out. Okay, VGS equal VGS
minus
VG minus VS. VG is 0 minus VS, and VS will be 1.5. That's what they given. That is the answer. And if you want the VD, then VD will be equal VDD ID. RD. See what you get.
Is it like 4.15?
16.
16, okay.
Let's not quibble over decimal places.
VS we already know. 1.5. VDF.
Is VD minus VS.
VD 4.16 minus VS 1.5.
What was that?
2.66, right?
2.66. Yes.
The thing is that are very, very basic. You have to know how to do it right away.
So, Mr. Pham, I think what you're teaching us is that this all comes back to Ohm's law. When you're given, right, it's Ohm's law.
Right,
It's a very, very basic thing.
I agree. The thing is they want to
If you
learn.
know the,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you're given the source voltage, 1.5 volts, then you know the source current because it's the voltage divided by the resistance. And because the source current is equal to the drain current, you know the drain current and you can calculate using Ohm's law, the voltage drop across the drain resistance. It sounds complicated and confusing when you look at all these formulas, but you have to go back to the basics. It's Ohm's law.
Right. I said, depending on the student, if they really want to learn, they have to spend the time to read and to do exercise. Okay? I keep repeat over and over. Okay, so the next problem. Now, that will be using voltage divider. I try to explain to you. The voltage divider, then you can calculate this in voltage divider, you have to using the graphic. If they not given the graphic, they have to given you some more information. Okay, so in this case, you understand that you know how to calculate the VG, right? Voltage divider will be VDD time R2 divide R1 plus R2. Okay, that is what you need to get the VG. Okay, let's see. In here, I've given you the calculation. Okay, hope so you can go through it and understand. So VG equal 8 volt. Okay, and time 2.2 divide 2.2 plus 2.2. Same value. So basically, they just divide by 2. So that's why you can get right here 4 volt. Okay. If you get a question, stop me. Otherwise, I keep going. Then now you can calculate the VGS. That will be Z here. that will be at here. VGS equal VG minus VS. And VG, you already get 4 volts right here. And minus VS will be equal IS or ID times IS. So now you get this equation. Okay? And you get that equation, then the same thing. For the graphic, you need 2 points. Okay? Point A and point B. Then you can draw the line. Now, how to get point A? Point A, you set ID equal 0. So you substitute into that equation here. Okay? ID equal 0. So VGS will be 4 volt minus 0. So you get 4 volt. So that's why you get point A will be VGS equal 4 volt. So that's why right here. This is a 4 volt right here. That's the point A. So in order to get the point A, then you must know the equation VGS right here. That's what we're using. Then now you want to get the point B. You set the VGS equal 0. So VGS equal 0, then basically you can get 4 volt minus ID times 3.3K equal 0. Okay? So that means you're able to calculate the ID. Four divide 3.3K. You get 1.2 milliamp. Okay, so point B, right at this point here, okay, 1.2 milliamp. Then you draw the line, you can get the Q point right here. Go to the right, you get ID. You going down, you get VGS. After you get the ID and the VGS, the rest will be the same. Like you want to calculate the VD, VS, or VDS. That's how to working with the graphic for the voltage divider. Anything confusing or do not quite follow it? Okay? If you get the gen, then you can try to do it by yourself. Now, next one. Can you do on that one? Same thing. Okay, let's see. That is 3.3K, 680. That's a different. Okay? So, who can tell me what current ID? I need only thing, ID, VGS. So what you need to do is calculate the VG first. What VG equal? Okay,
5 volts.
5 volts.
Five.
15 times 100 divide 300.
Five volts.
You get out 5 volt, right? That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing you can remember, you get a point A is 5 volt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. That's A. And now, if you want a point B, then you have to remember the formula. Okay? VGS equal VG minus VS. Okay? VGS VG. Okay? VG is 5. VS will be ID. RS. Okay? And that will be equal 5. ID is, let's see, 5 minus ID times RS 1.25K. Okay, and now if you set the VGS equal 0, point B. Okay, then you can get 5 minus ID times 1.25 equal 0. And that will be given you ID equal 5, 1.25. Okay, so 5 divide 1.25, you get 4 milliamp. Okay, so now you get the ID equal 4 point B. 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Then you can draw the line. This is a Q point right here. You go to the right, you get the current ID. You going down, you get VGS. Okay? Any question?
Yeah, Mr. Pham, I have a basic question. Do you mind to repeat again when it's necessary to use the curve to do this estimation, to do this calculation in comparison to the previous?
Yeah, they given to you. That's it. If they not given to you the graphic, then they will given you more detail for you to do.
Okay,
However,
okay.
yeah, however,
Got it. Thank you.
with the graphic, then you're working with the graphic.
Okay, okay, got it. Thank you.
That's good. Next one. Now, this one, you do it for me, completely everything. They're not using graphic. However, they given to you we add 3 volt right here. Then you don't need the graphic. Go ahead quickly do that calculation. I believe everyone will be get through it. You already know VG will be 5 volt, right? 2.2 mega, 2.2 mega, and 10 volt VDD. So I know that will be 5 volt. Easy. And you need to calculate the ID. ID equal I add V add divide 1.5K.
Hey, Mr. Pham,
Yes, sir.
on the source, right above RS, where you got RS written on the circuit, do you have, is that VS is -3 or VS is equal to 3?
VS equal.
Oh, that's an equal, okay.
The thing is when you download it, you can see more better than when I using my iPad.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
iPad,
Yeah.
sometimes they cut it off.
Okay,
But that's why I already gave it to you. VS equal 3 volt.
yeah.
The thing is, after the bias, next will be for the MoreJFET. And after the MoreJFET, the last one will be JFET amplifier.
Five volts minus 3 volts is 2 volts.
Is
So
it
do we have a forward bias gate source?
2 milliamp? 3 volt divide 1.5, 2 milliamp. VGS, VG minus VS. That will be 5 volt minus 3 volt. Get 2 volt. VD, VDD, ID, RD, and volt. ID 2 milliamp. Time RD 2.5K. Five volt. VDS. I hope next time you do the quiz, you can get everything done.
VD minus VS.
I think that someone,
So Mr. Pham, I have a question.
yeah,
Yeah, so we learned earlier that the JFET normally has the gate source junction reverse bias, but in this example, the gate to source voltage is positive. So is this a different use of the JFET? Is this a switch?
can you repeat it? How what?
Well, it looks like the gate source junction is forward bias. But we learned earlier that the gate source in normal operation is always reverse bias.
Yeah, get too short. That means, you see the diode will be revert, right? So they on the, okay, I understand your question. You can see VG you calculate to be 5 volt, right? And the other one will be 3 volt.
Yes.
Okay, so how come they can be revert bias and turn out to be forward bias? Correct?
Yes.
Okay, I will check that out. Okay, maybe I given to the data value, maybe it's not quite correct. Yeah, that's very good. That's what.
But could this situation be using the JFET as a switch?
I will double check on the normally on the textbook when they give a voltage divider. Is it they calculate the VG all the time will be less than VS or not? I need to double check that before I can come up with something else.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that appreciate that. That's very good. Yeah.
Mr. Fan, let me ask you a question. What is the book from where you are basing this class about JFET?
About what?
About JFET. What is the book that you are using to this class? JFET, MoSFET.
You're talking about MoreJFET, right?
Or this topic, JFET. What is the book from where you are taking all these circuit images and content?
Where are you getting your information to teach JFET, Mr. Fan?
That's in the textbook.
Which one? What is the name of that textbook? Do you mind to share the name of that book?
Mr. Smith, let me know what the textbook.
Are you talking about the grub?
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
He's talking about, we talked about this a couple classes ago. There was like a $500 textbook that
No. I asked. I took the group from the library. I checked the JFET chapter, and yeah, it's almost nothing about JFET. So looks like the textbook is a different one.
Ah, okay.
To understand too many different types of the textbook, but the road one, that one I using, but I'm not using one. I using more, few different textbook.
Yeah, I understand that, but looks like most of the content about JFET come from the same textbooks. The labels are the same, the color are the same. Yeah, right. Looks very similar.
Right, but different way. The explanation. So that's why sometimes you read in one textbook, you not quite follow it. You read a second one, maybe that will be help. but mine is try to combine. Okay.
Okay, so let me ask you the last question. Is there another book than the Groove Schultz that we can take a look?
The same thing, only the newer version.
Okay, the new version of the group, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pham.
Guys, can I interject here something that may be helpful, I hope? If you go to references and go to books, there are a couple of great references there.
I check on those, Richard.
Yes?
Yeah, but it's not the same that the content of these last 2-3 classes, lectures, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find exactly these examples, but it's going to teach you the principles. And I think those two books teach the principles really, really well.
Okay, thank you.
Google, type in JFET, then you can see too many.
Yeah, Mr. Pham, I know that the internet is full of content, but most of the time that you are taking a class, the teacher suggests some textbook where the student can go and check the content. That was my question, but I understand that you are using the Groove last version. Thank you.
Suggestion, Mr. Pham, to the student, do a search on JFET simulation. You'll find a graphic interface that will allow you to adjust different values of a JFET circuit, and you can see how the JFET opens and closes the gate and the different value of fluctuations. Simulations help a lot, so try and search simulation. That might help you understand. Thank you.
I would say one of the issues, and I don't know how to bridge the gap on this, is when I look online for these things, the math is completely different. And so it's like trying to translate two different languages. And it could just be that, I mean, I'm going to take a math class after this, but trying to bridge the gap between the math that we learn in class versus the math. I prefer the math we learn in class. I'll be blunt about that. I think it's easier to understand the equations that we're using. But oftentimes that's the issue I have versus the book. I will say, though, I think we've already said it, that the Groves Basics of Electronics, it's chapter 30, field effect transistors. Might also help, but I think someone already said that.
Yeah, that's in the grub.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. That's the last one. Do it for me. Try to say you get only 5. Six questions. Whoever get 6 over 6, that means you really understand.
One, C.
So if GVS off is, if GVS is off greater than GVS off, then the answer must be 0 milliamps.
That's correct. Answer is C.
I don't know, go ahead and get up to number 6. Then we go through it.
I'm not sure.
You done everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Number one, particular P channel. You understand they get an N channel and a P channel JFET. N channel VGS off equal negative number. P channel VGS off will be positive number. So VGS off they give it to you 4 volt, and they want to know value of the ID when VGS equals 6 volt. Okay. Now my question is, what the ID at VGS off? What ID equal?
0.
0. And now they get VGS equal 6 volt. That means more than VGS off. The answer will be C. 0. Anyway. Number 2.
Answer is D.
Let's see what the value VGS
D.
have a cut off P channel for JFET VP equal minus
3.
P channel. So what answer? A, B, C, D.
D.
You know VGS and VP all the time. Same value will be opposite. Okay. Number 3. For VGS equal 0, the range current become constant when VGS exists.
A. VP.
Perfect. A. Number 4. JFET IDS 20 milliamp and VP 3 volt. What is the drain current at VP equal 5 volt?
The answer is A. 20.
A, B,
A.
C, D.
A.
You know, they get a 3 region. Okay, 2 regions. One will be ohmic region, and the second one will be constant region equal IDSS. And they start at the constant region. Minimum value will be VP. Okay, so now VP equal 3, and they asking the current at VP equal 5. So the answer will be equal ID at that. Okay. Number 5. A JFET parameter describe how effective the gate source voltage is controlling the drain current. Equal what?
Answer is A.
A. So the last one easy. JFET is what?
Answer is B.
Normally on 5. The thing is when they're using a cell bias, VG equals 0, but it's still working. That's what they call on divide. Bipolar will be off divide. The thing is bipolar without the base voltage, they're not working. So normally when you say the multiple choice, you can now get the right answer. That means really you understand about this chapter. And this JFET is very important, for every technician. Sometimes you can see most of the time you don't have to do any calculation. I'm telling you what happened in the company as a technician when you're working, okay? Basically, I'm not talking about engineer, technician. I'm talking about rework. Normally what you're doing, the board, they're not working. Then your job will be try to make it work. So depending on the company, big company, they get a test system. You plug the board into that, and normally they can get a program for you to run exactly like that you here. They want to test, they run the test program. Okay? And that test program engineer will do it. So they telling you they apply somewhere, measure anywhere, and the value they want, they telling you the value they want it. And if it fails, then now your job is try to fix that at it. Okay? You cannot set that value. When you try to troubleshoot it, normally the people, the technician working for a while, you know how to collect the data. That means you're asking for the test requirement document. That means that the test engineer is generate the test for you, and they can tell you on a certain point what the voltage they want for troubleshooting. You cannot analyze the circuitry in order to find out what the value. That's really, really tough, and you don't have enough time to do it. So who get the more experience at work? You can let me know. But I've been a test engineer for 27 years. Okay, I've been developed the program for technicians to test. I've been working with the technician to help them to solving the problem in case they cannot fix it. But that job will be more skilled. You can get paid more. Okay.
Hey, Mr. Ham, on the answer to question 6, I would also accept C, that a JFET is a bipolar device.
You mean for the JFET and bipolar?
Yeah, because it's based on p-n junctions, so it's bipolar. So I would also accept, if a technician said C, I would accept that answer.
You understand in this program, we take everything from the basic, anything technician need to do their job. That's what we take for. I expect, when I talking about diode, they know how they work. Zener diode, bipolar, DC bias, amplifier. operation amplifier. The filter, that means the major need prepare for the technician to do their job, or they can go to the university. We already build up for them the basic we have. Someone, they can understand quickly, take a short time to be in the program, but some other students take a longer. 1 year, 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. But if they really want to understand, then the time is not a problem. They have to study. Okay, so
If I could answer a question, Mr. Pham, he said that he would accept answer C. I thought bipolar was for emitter-based collector, and that would be bipolar. But could you answer his question? He was saying something about he would accept letter C.
About what question?
Number 6.
Okay, number 6. JFET is what? I only think you must be answered the A or B or D. And my answer will be B. We're not talking about bipolar. Bipolar, that will be off device, not on device. I can explain to you why off device. The thing is, without the voltage at the base, bipolar will be off, not working. However, JFET for the cell bias, voltage at the gate equal nothing. You don't have to apply. They still working. So that's why they call it normally on device.
The JFET is normally on for zero bias conditions, right? So it's normally on. But basically, the physical structure of a JFET is still based on bipolar junctions. And Joseph, if you want to take this offline, I'll be willing to talk to you about it. But I think the answer for a technician quiz is B. Okay. If you want to look at the engineering, then C is acceptable in my thinking. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree, but don't try to confuse it. Okay, for the student. Try to understand more simple. If they want to be engineer, they're not really in this program anyway. It's a very, very difficult to run this program. Quite different level. Okay, so any more question, anything? Okay, so if no more question, I will be stopping today.
Thank you, Mr. Fan. Good night.
Thank you for the listen.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you,
Mr. Fan.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.